Can you say hard hats, folks? Hard hats, lunch pails, steel toe boots.
Anything short of a championship this year is a failure. Look at this boomer right here.
You've just got so much talent here.
Somebody said we need to apologize for Jaylen.
Can I close it, John? What are we apologizing for? What did we say? What did we do?
We don't even need the rolling. What's up, guys?
What's up, Jimmy?
Hard hats, lunch pails, steel toe boots, Kristaps, Porzingis after a little vacation, coming back to work today. John, you know what we have to do. You know exactly what we have to do.
What do we have to do, Jimmy?
We told the people we would do it. John has been avoiding it all year. The apology cam is front and center.
Didn't we say this would be the happiest apology cam of our lives?
Yes, we did, and we were right.
I gotta say, man, like I said, this one's easy, and this isn't me like doing an apology cam because Luke had one good game type of thing, which Bobby tried to force over and over again. This was fair to wonder what was going to happen with Kristaps Porzingis coming back. And I got to tell you, like, my panic level was like 7, and then he wasn't starting, and then it went to like 11. I didn't like that at all.
Yeah.
But then he checks in less than 5 minutes in. It's like, oh,
buckets.
And so you're like, okay, it was more of a rotational thing. The way they wanted to manage the minutes, they wanted him to come in, but he came in that early. So that was a good sign. And then, my God, that first half was the best game he played all year.
Absolutely.
Unbelievable. He came
out. Was he? I'm still not sure. I'll frame everything I'm saying within the apology cam because I have no problem with that. But I'm still not sure whether he was being coy or whether he truly didn't know how he was going to be, and whether he'd be able to react. First play to him, Tatum tried to kick it to him on a cut, and his hands were a little slow, and it bounced off him and went out of bounds. It was like, okay, there's that kind of game speed thing that you were worried about there. And then all of a sudden, just bucket, 3.
I honestly think
block shot, unbelievable Porzingis. So if that's what the apology cam is going to be, I'll take it.
He was playing coy the whole time. Yeah, you know what though? I honestly think that he needed to prove it to himself. Everybody told him within the organization that he was ready to go out there and do your thing. He just needed to see himself do it. And I think it was like I think it only took like a minute for him to be like, okay, like I'm going at full speed. I feel good. I'm about to block this shot. I'm about to throw down this dunk. I'm about to hit this shot. It was unbelievable. Playoff. This is like one of those historic This is like one of those moments you remember. Like Bobby likes to go there, like this moment in history. That's what Bobby likes to do. He might have something tonight with looking back on, years from now. We're going to be talking about Kristaps Porzingis. Like he's actually probably right in this case.
Yeah, and some people are asking.
Sherrod, you're muted. Now you're not.
Sorry, Sherrod, I muted you. I'm popping out 1 second. I'm making a technical switch here. I'll let you guys carry it, and I'll be right back onto the show, okay?
Oh,
what I was saying, this is exactly why you brought him in here for games like this, where you knew that your goal to win a championship, you're going to need all hands on deck. And I the way that he was able to impact the game, I didn't think he would impact it this way. I thought his presence would open things up for Tatum and Brown and Drew and those other guys, but not the case. He got his own damn offense going. The mid-range, and the thing about it, Dallas tried to make some adjustments, which was smart. They tried to go with size. He just beats him off the dribble. They went small. He just shoot right over the top of them. There was nothing that the Dallas Mavericks could do in that first half to minimize his impact. And offensively, and we'll talk more about it, but, Luka did what Luka does. This is who he is. He is a bucket getter. But the one stat that I think speaks to how well the Celtics were able to, frankly, limit him, and which, again, give up 30 points, you don't think that's limiting a guy, but he had 1 assist. When you can keep him from getting those other guys involved, that is when you are having success against Luka. It's those triple-double games that are problematic when he can get you 30 points, 10, 11 rebounds, 8, 9, 10 assists. So their ability to limit the others was huge.
I have it wrong. I thought they could try to just focus on Luka, take Luka out of the game, and then make the rest of the team sort of figure it out. But they let Luka do it. I mean, they didn't let him do his thing, but Luka did his thing, right? 30 points.
Yeah.
But they just did not get that supporting cast help still. And Sherrod, I mean, we all put our previews in earlier. You can find that on the CLNS website. We all had the Celtics in either like 5 or 6 games, I believe. And a big part of that reason was after Luka and Kyrie, if you're Dallas, again, no disrespect, but the drop-off is pretty significant compared to where the Celtics are, where after Tatum and Brown, like you're getting hit with Holiday. You're getting hit with Porzingis now out of nowhere, right? You're getting hit with White. Like these guys they're going to keep coming after you. So tonight, shout out Jaylen Brown for kind of, being that, the alpha there again. But Porzingis punched them in the mouth. I don't know if they were ready for what clearly they weren't ready for what Porzingis did to them tonight.
No, they weren't. And they made some, I thought, decent adjustments in the second half. They tried to be a little bit more physical with him. When he caught the ball at the elbow and even out near the three-point line, they really made sure that they got up in his space immediately. And we saw what happened when that occurred. He put the ball on the floor and got to the hole for a dunk. And so Dallas, when they go back and look at the film of this, I'm not sure that they can come up with enough solutions to all the problems that Boston caused them tonight. Because, when they were able to get it down to a single-digit game, that's when Jaylen Brown went into Jaylen Brown mode and just took over. And the next thing we even got a Sam Hauser sighting.
Got a decent Sam Hauser.
I mean, this was right. And not only was he knocking down the 3 ball, but he even did a decent job on Luka. I mean, the first 2 possessions, Luka had a missed shot and he had a turnover. And it was an individual. It wasn't like there was help side defense. He actually forced Luka to turn the ball over. So this was a really good game, I thought, on so many levels.
100%.
Hey guys, how do I sound?
John, you there? You sound fine.
Yeah, I sound fine. I had to switch microphones. I was making sure I got a little Sienna. Look at this.
Oh, look at you with the flag. Love that.
I know.
Look at him.
You almost look professional.
I'm flying my freak flight. Yeah, I'm here. We're here at the Garden. We're having fun.
Yeah, so we got you there.
You guys want to see Amit? You guys want to see Amit?
Don't do
That's
it.
Amit.
Don't do it.
I thought I saw Amit floating around here.
Hey, John, it's a mystery. It's a mystery.
He's real.
Wait, John, why don't you tell everybody what we have in store for them? Who's at the Garden?
Amit exists. He really is. He's a real person.
We might get a 6 box tonight. A hexa box.
Hexagon.
Hexa box.
Learn that in
You're gonna get Boomer Nick. Amit's running out right now to set
What's
up
up,
a
Amit?
live shot. High five. He's high-fiving everybody on the way out.
Amit's happy. His guy Jaylen did his thing tonight too.
Yeah.
So
what were you guys talking
Bobby,
about?
What were we talking about? We were just kind of shooting around the horn for a minute. I mean, we talked about Porzingis. We talked about what Luka was able to do, but the fact that basically, my thinking was do what you can to stop Luka and force the rest of the Mavs to take care of business. But
I thought what they did. I thought their strategy was great, except for that small lapse in the third where they just kind of were sluggish, particularly on offense. I like what they did with Luka. Their switching was beautiful tonight. They were so good with their switches. And again, this is what you like about the Boston matchup. They threw a lot. I thought Horford did really well in space against the guards there. As Joe. Joe's willing to concede some stuff. They did a really good job. When Luka would drive, they would pinch on his drives there and try to make him make a decision. And they did a really good job kind of messing up their coverages on those lobs where Dallas didn't really get that lob game going at all. So they had a really, really, really smart game plan that they executed, really well. And, Dallas just couldn't get anything going. And if you want to look at it in really basic terms, yeah. I mean, what did we say beforehand? Luka and Kyrie can both have good games, and the Celtics can still win this. Kyrie did not have a good game. Luka's going to do what Luka's going to do. Dallas just doesn't have enough
Kyrie
elsewhere where you really, like I said, you're going to need Caleb Martin-like performances or an incredible shooting variance. And that's what I was saying in the previews, and that's what I said in my previews and prediction is I think Dallas has to play a near-perfect game and get like incredible shooting variance in their favor, or else it's going to be really difficult here. And the Celtics did exactly what they wanted to do. I thought in the first half the Celtics made every correct read. I know we're going to bust on Tatum a tad, but we are. It's fine. And then people are gonna be, dude, he did everything. He did a lot of
That'll be
things.
the second part of the show.
You still want to see him be able to score a little bit better, but Dallas threw bodies at him. Dallas was clogging the paint. He made all the right reads. You want to do a potential assist celebration for Tatum? We can do one tonight. He made a lot of drive-in kick situations that I thought was the right play and the right pass all the time. So he did well, but he's having a tough time getting to his spot to get shots off. But every time he got to the lane and there were bodies there, he did not force it. To his credit, he did really, really good. And again, going back to Luka, what you said earlier, they made him work for all of it. He scored 30 points on 26 shots. Yes, take that. He had one assist. What are we doing here? The Mavericks what did they finish with? It was 6 assists at one point.
They weren't getting to the line.
Yeah, and that's what you want. That's exactly what you want. As far as Tatum is concerned, we can talk more about him later, but
they finished with 8. Yeah, geez.
Right. The thing about Tatum is that he was able to beat whoever was guarding him off the dribble all game long. I mean, he had the drive and kick game going, but there were at least, I'd say, 4 or 5 times where he could have just laid it up. And he just elected to just kick it out to guys wide open in the corner. And if you're Dallas, I'm not sure how you embrace that. I mean, the good news is that, he wasn't scoring a ton of points. But the bad news is he got in a hole pretty much at will and made the conscious choice to pass the ball as opposed to trying to finish at the rim. Depending on what Dallas does going forward in game 2, if they try to take away that passing lane that Tatum gets, he's just going to look to score layups. And if you're Dallas at that point, it's like damned if you do, damned if you don't with Tatum. Because again, he didn't score a ton of points, but I thought he was a major problem for Dallas' defense because of his ability to get in that sweet spot and just spray the ball to whoever was open.
Facts, my dog. Yeah, I mean, listen, we'll talk about Tatum. I mean, we talked about Porzingis. I don't want to skip talking about Brown. I know that's kind of our thing on this show, but Brown has been the guy for a while now. He's been the consistent playoff performer. And I just love his mentality the last couple months. I loved his mentality tonight. Love the aggressiveness. And this is one of the reasons, again, why I was confident in picking the Celtics in 5, by the way. No big deal. It feels like Brown and Tatum understand the moment. They understand what's at stake personally. They understand how hard it is to get here. They do have some help, obviously. Porzingis did his thing tonight. They have Drew Holiday, it's probably easy for Drew to drive home that point of just how special it is to be here and how special it is to win. And then they've got Al Horford, who's laying it all out on the line. You can just tell that Al Horford is like, this is it. Like, I mean, talk about a guy who's been there over and over and over and over, and talking about just playoff games. He's played in over 2 full seasons of playoff games. And so everybody on this team understands what's being called upon right now. And I feel like Jaylen Brown is kind of leading the way. It's not to say that Tatum isn't. It just feels like Jaylen Brown is not going to let anything get in the way of
Jimmy,
what they're trying to do.
Where's Louise? Where's Louise?
Right.
Where's Louise? Is she in here?
Here's the thing, but Jimmy, here's the thing.
She just fainted.
When Dallas was making its run in that third quarter and it got it down to single digits, who took over? It was Jaylen Brown. His ability to not only get to his spots, but just knock down shots and just push back on that Luka surge that they had. And that's really, when you go back to the Eastern Conference Finals, that's kind of the role he's been cast in playing. The guy, whenever things get a little bit of wobbly, who's going to just right the ship? That's been Jaylen Brown. It was Jaylen Brown in the conference finals. It was Jaylen Brown in game 1. And again, he didn't score a ton of points, but he scored really vital, impactful, difference-making points in that third quarter to take that single-digit lead and push it back up to 20 and some change.
And the defense, I mean,
3
you're talking
blocks.
about setting the tone early. I mean, right out of the gate, and obviously there's a ton of switching there, so it doesn't end up being his only assignment all game. But right out of the gate, he picks up Luka full court, and you're like, okay, here we go. And it's kind of shades of that James Harden matchup against Philly, where he just decided, nope, not going to do this again. And so that was kind of the intensity that he played with all night. And I think the turning point of the entire game was the third quarter, where the Celtics, where the lead got back down to 8. And Jaylen made those series of energy plays there. He denies a lob and he gets a block. He hits a three, and all of a sudden just changes the entire. Not to be cute about the energy shifting, but he really changed the energy of the third quarter when the Celtics were flat. And he was part of the offensive stagnation that started the quarter, but his plays, particularly on defense, and how many times we say, like, turn defense to offense, like let the defense guide you. When things go cold or you start to stagnate, and they were holding the ball too long a little bit to start the third quarter. And everybody was standing around. They were taking the first available three, or they were taking too long to get into their actions, and that they really only had one pass and one, shot that was even available to them. And that was just a shitty offense and really, really bad start to the third. And Jaylen saved their ass. And honestly, I didn't panic as much as as one would think. It was annoying, and you're like, don't do this, but like they pulled it back pretty quick, and they go from 21 to 8 back to 20, to end that third quarter. And that was it. That third quarter saved them. If you let Dallas enter that fourth quarter with a single digit, single digit lead, then it's white knuckle time the rest of the way. Yeah.
Yeah. I was fishing through the memes already and the GIFs, trying to figure out what one I was going to post when Dallas brought it to like a one, like when Luka hits a three to bring it within one possession. I was just ready for it, but got to give Celtics credit. And I think that's why that Pacers series was so important to them too, because they were able to stave off scoring in bursts that Indiana was capable of doing. So when they were cold, like they were in the third quarter, like you said, John, sort of focus on the defense, let your defense turn to offense. And then the shots started to fall again. It wasn't like a situation where they were just going to go cold and stay cold. They started off hot too. I mean, when you start off the way you start off, you set the tone that way to go up. They pretty much doubled Dallas up in that first quarter. And a lot, again, talking about energy, a lot of that was Porzingis entering the game at the 7-minute mark. And they just rode that momentum. I mean, he was just the block. I mean, just him getting up and down the court. I haven't seen anything like that. I feel like Bill Walton might have been in the building tonight. He might have been in the building tonight.
Yeah, Jimmy, we've got between our two YouTube channels right now, Jimmy, we have somewhere in the neighborhood of 3,500 people in the room here. I think this is as good a time as any for you to tell them about what they can, what they might be able to. Jackson, do we have it? Do we have the lower third? Here it is.
Oh yeah, we have it. We have it.
So you see Jimmy's hard hat, right? Why don't you tell him? Why don't you tell him what's going on, Jimmy?
Yeah, so I hope I'm not on any sort of delay here internet-wise. But, guys, right now we've got a code, 3 more. You know what that means, 3 more. It's for 20% off at shop.clnsmedia.com. I've been promising hard hats. I never make a promise I can't deliver on. We have hard hats for sale right now. Pictures of what the hard hat looks like. Very limited supply of hard hats. So if you're thinking about getting one, you need to pull the trigger probably within the next 10 minutes because there's not that many of them. We hope to have more later on in the series, but this is more of just toss it out there, see if people are interested. The hard hats are for sale. They were carefully and very, very much love and care put together. We had to design them. We had to put the decals on them. Shout out to Joe, who's hard at work right now in the lab putting them together. These are real hard hats. They're not little toys that you'd buy at iParty. These are real hard hats, guys. So if you're thinking about getting one, if you want to get fired up for the playoffs, we've got 3 more wins to go. These are going to actually ship tomorrow, I am told. So if you buy them tonight, they'll ship tomorrow. And hopefully, I'm not going to say they're going to get there for game 2, but they're probably going to get there, depending on where you live, somewhere between game 2 and game 3. So that's my spiel. Hard hats are in the merch store. Not just hard hats. We got phenomenal tees. We got Garden Report logo tees. We've got backpacks. We've got mugs. We've got
some hoodies in there too.
Bucket hats. We've got hoodies.
Right.
We've got it all.
We lost 200 viewers. All right, moving on.
Phenomenal hats. Bucket hats are in there.
We got to go. Moving on. Back to the game. But yes. Anyway, go use that once a time. Maybe it might be sold out. Use that code 3 more and head on out there. So, I mean, Jimmy, we don't want to take victory laps per se, but because it's just one game. But and I don't expect it's going to be like this. But like, I want to take a victory lap, Jimmy, because I want to
Honestly,
say,
Ford just sold. Sorry. Go on.
I want to say what I've wanted to say the whole time. I'm like, which is kind of like, give me a fucking break with Dallas. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
thank
not
you.
I'm not an anti ESPN. I hate, like, the disrespecting. I don't think it's disrespect. I think it's, like I said, I think it was boredom. I think it was that the Celtics, to no fault of their own, had an easy path to the playoffs. And I think it's so easy and lazy almost to be like, I don't think they're that good, because it was boring. They were so good all year in such a ridiculous, historic way that it's like you get bored with it. And then you watch them fumble around a little bit and not eviscerate a couple of teams that you think they should have. And, well, they could have lost a couple of those games against it. I get it. It's a really easy, lazy thing to say. I never got it. And like I said, I'm not ready to bury the Mavericks altogether, but like, if Dallas played Boston in the first round, if they were in the same conference, would you be like, they're scary? No, you'd be like, good, they'll whip them, maybe 5 or 6, and then move on to the next thing. That's how you would have felt about it. So I feel like you created this Dallas monster was created. And look, we could regret saying this right now, and this could be freezing cold takes pretty soon, but like, I never got it. I never got it. I respect. I think they played really good defense. I don't think they played an offense like the Celtics. They really did not. At any point in time during the playoffs, I think the Celtics have the type of defense that can absolutely, not neutralize, but slow down what Dallas does best. And so it didn't make sense to me. I was like, if you pick the final 4 teams when they were in the semis, we all, I'm like, it's Dallas. Like, Dallas is the matchup here. I would rather play them than Minnesota and OKC and Denver. So I never got where it all came from. We'll see what happens here in game 2 and what type of adjustments are made. But as I said, that was kind of my feeling going in. I didn't fully understand it. We're going to put up Joe Mazzulla real quick. Hear what Joe has to say about the win.
Just thought it gave us the best chance to win, and he was great on both ends of the floor. Defensive execution, game plan, fighting for a spot in the offensive end, being physical, and making plays on both ends of the floor. So I thought he played great, and that's the KP that helped us get to where we are today.
Okay, Porzingis quickie. People are saying I'm looking over my shoulder. I'm like Joe Mazzulla. I don't like having my back to shit right now, but this is the only way I can. This is the only way I could set up.
A lot of people don't like your take, so you should be looking over your shoulder.
Well, here's the thing, though, about what John was saying.
The Dallas one.
Well, the reason why I think the Celtics, catch way more, negative national, takes is because they're not the sexiest team out there. People love what Luka does. People love what Anthony Edwards does, in Minnesota. But the Celtics, they've got a great player in Tatum, but they've got a lot of really good players, and they play as a team. They win as a team, and not one individual leads the way. And that just doesn't make for great discourse, particularly when you beat teams the way the Celtics have this year. I mean, they beat not 1, not 2, but 3 different teams by 50 or more points. That doesn't happen. It's never happened in the NBA. And so, to me, the Celtics, they're a victim of being a balanced, top-tier elite team at both ends of the floor. And when you get to this stage and you're playing a team like Dallas, you start to John's point, I don't know if this game would have a different outcome if this were game 1 of the first round versus game 1 of the NBA Finals. I think we're still looking at them up 1-0 in a game that they dominated.
Yeah,
that's where they are right now, and it's not the sexiest topic, but it's real. That's just who they are.
Yeah, and you go ahead, Jimmy. You feeling good about stuff?
I just wanted to let everybody know the hard hats just sold out. So thank you guys so much. That's unbelievable.
Jimmy,
that is actually unbelievable.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious. I have the Shopify live next to me, and it was unreal. So first of all, thank you guys for the support.
Wow.
I appreciate it. Second of all, we are going to have more. So if you didn't get your hands on the first go around, we're going to have more. I can't tell you exactly when, but we're going to have more this playoff series. Stay tuned. The announcement comes on the show. You got to watch the show to know when they go live. Also, guys, half you guys didn't use the discount code. Help us help you. You know,
That's because they were in a freaking hurry, Jay. They're just like, fuck the discount code. Yeah, you gotta get the hat. Damn.
Yeah, that's too funny.
Well done, Jimmy.
But no,
well done.
the next one, yeah, we're good. Anyways, that's it. No more hard hat talk. John,
No more hard hats. Yes, sir.
were you sitting near Bobby, or were you sitting with Josue, Sherrod? What were they thinking? What's everyone's vibes during this game? Because I wasn't really locked on Twitter as much because I was watching the game, so I didn't get the play-by-play from those guys as much.
Bobby kept looking over at the bench to see if what the substitution patterns would be, and he was a little sad.
yeah, I can see that. But the fourth quarter,
like, is that Luke? No, it's not Luke. It's not Luke.
Yeah.
No, I mean Bobby and I were really impressed with the defense. Just the way that the Celtics were switching all game. I think that's how they won this game here. They just did such a good job with it. And they just made them. It just made them uncomfortable. The whole game. They never got into a rhythm, and you love to see it. We didn't talk about it, but I'll say it. I thought the Kyrie chanting was like,
oh yeah, tell me about that. Not as strong as
it wasn't as like kind of.
It was what I expected. Yeah. It was perfunctory. It was just. It was there because we're supposed to.
Oh, too many suits in the building. Not enough real
fans. Like I said, it faded. But you know what though? Where it grew was him struggling, and the more he struggled, the more people got into it because it was like maybe Kyrie does suck.
Was he breathing through it?
Yeah.
That was what he said he was going to do. Breathe through it. Just breathe. Yeah, just breathe.
Yeah.
Just Kyrie being Kyrie. I want to double down.
I mean, if you go back, if we did the stats here, Kyrie's last X amount of games for Celtics, it's pretty grisly. But yeah, go ahead, Jimmy.
No, I just wanted to double down. I mean, all week, and I put this in my prediction. All week, I was trying to sell myself on Dallas. To the point where
why?
I was just to because I had so many people telling me that I need. Hey, there he is. There's Gelso in the back.
I got nervous. I thought he was behind me. This is that CIA shit.
Right. Yeah. I mean, listen, it is just one. I understand that it's just one game, but I want to put not just there were a lot of experts, quote unquote, talking head experts that had Dallas in this series. And I'm not saying it's over, but if you're those people, you have to be wondering what you saw differently. I mean, Bobby Marks, Mavericks in 6. Dave McMenamin, he's a Mavericks guy. Mavericks in 6. Who else here that sticks out to me? I guess I don't know some of these names. Israel Gutierrez, Mavericks in 6. Chris Herring, Mavericks in 6. Tim Legler, Mavericks in 7. So Zach Lowe had Celtics in 6. He's the Celtics guy. But there's a lot of people who did not give the Celtics the credit they deserve for a team that was the best team in the league all year. Right? I mean, from start to finish, whatever metric you want to use, the Celtics were the best team in the league all year. They came in the playoffs. Yeah, they had a bit of a cupcake schedule, but they treated it that way. They took care of business. They handily beat those teams that they should have handily beat. So, in one hand, while it's you want to roll your eyes a little bit at when the guys in the team talk about disrespect and lack of respect, you almost got to side with them a little bit here because. What else is there? What else can they do? What else? They're getting punished for past seasons with different rosters, and they're getting punished for the teams that they played. So at this point, okay, now they're playing a Dallas team that, for all intents and purposes, nobody really – listen, Dallas had a good second half of the year, and obviously they deserve to be here. But to your point, John, if it was Celtics versus Dallas in the first round or at some point in the regular season or whenever, overwhelmingly – it's going to be the Celtics. Now, it's funny because Vegas-wise, they have the Celtics as a pretty heavy favorite at -260, but there's so many people who try to make it seem like it's a lot closer than that.
Here's where people didn't read the room right on that is, it's like all the money's coming in on Dallas, and there's so much Dallas chatter, and Vegas is sitting back yep. Keep maybe, but the Mavericks. Yeah.
But they made the Celtics such an unappetizing bet at -260. Where I feel like maybe they
Jimmy, is it strange? This is where we're gonna kind of talk about. This stuff's gonna come up over and over and over again, but like how many content houses right now are heavily funded by betting sites, you know, and you're going to start to wonder, it's like, oh, hey,
True.
why is everyone putting so much juice on the Mavs right now?
Interesting.
So I have my conspiracy theories, but like I really,
exactly.
at the end of the day, I don't think it's that as much as I really do think it's
The
boredom.
antennas are up for June right now. Why would those predictions come in? Right?
Yeah, I might get murdered for that. Yeah. No, but I mean, all of that's why is that? So it does. It's interesting to me, but I really think the majority of it was straight up boredom. Like,
we gotta make something out of this. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So we're gonna keep talking about it. We're gonna be joined by Bobby. Nick is setting up. He's gonna jump on the court. I may relocate. It's getting busy around me, and Sherrod's already in this media room. We don't want to have too many echoes. We want to tell you guys a little bit about one of our sponsors over here at the Garden Report, and that is Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app. More than 5 million members. Fun, exciting way to get in on the action while you watch your favorite sports and players. Pick more or less on 2-player stats or more to shot to win up to 100 times your cash. And again, lots of different things that you can get involved with. I assume everybody here took that free square with Jason Tatum where you had to score 1 point, and he did barely, but he got it. What did he end up with? 16?
Yeah, I think it was 16.
Yeah, he had 16.
But it's fun.
16,
it's
11,
easy to
and
use.
5.
You can do group plays, play along with celebrities. You get injury insurance. It's really great. So just download that app right now, and you put in that code CLNS, and you get $100 deposit match right then and there. You put in 100, you get 100 back. Once again, download the app today. Use the code CLNS for a first deposit match up to 200. Pick more, pick less. It is that easy, my friends. We also want to tell you briefly about Game Time. And again, the get-in fee today was about, I was looking an hour or two before. I'm not sure what it got down to right before. It was about $670, $680. The hottest ticket's going to be Game 5. Okay, there's no question about that, because when you're already winning, you're worried. When you're up 1-0, you're starting to look at like, am I going to be there for a clinch? And which game is that going to be? And if you're thinking it's not going to be 7, 5 might be your spot here. Like Jimmy and I said, Celtics in 5. So again, you want to get to the NBA Finals. Game Time, an authorized ticket marketplace, makes NBA Finals getting those tickets faster and easier. Prices go down the closer it gets to tip off. Killer last minute deals, all in prices. You can get panoramic views of your seat. It's actually amazing. You're looking exactly what it's going to look like when you do check all of those spots. It's a very intuitive app. It's super easy to use. So once again, get it. You also have a lowest price guarantee. Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference if you find a lower deal, better deal out there. So take the guesswork out of buying NBA Finals tickets with Game Time. Download the app, create an account, use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms to apply. Once again, download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code CLNS, $20 off your first purchase. Now, I mean, let's jump ahead. I got a lot of commotion around me. Sorry, guys.
No, you're good.
Is it over? It's not that loud. Is it over? Is it over, Jimmy? It's not over. What does Dallas do coming back? What does Dallas do coming back for real?
I'd feel like an a-hole saying it's over, but I mean, what do they do coming back? I mean, they have, now that they have the Porzingis film and they know what the unicorn's capable of, they have to figure out a way to limit him. He was just everywhere. He was the X factor in this game. I mean, the fact that he was able to come in and, I mean, it was close to a tie game at that point, I think, when he came in, and he just completely punched them in the mouth. So the first thing they have to do is watch the film and figure out how he was able to get up and down the court the way he was. Then they have to figure out a way to get Luka and Kyrie in the mismatches that they want to get them in. I mean, that's the name of the game in this series. I thought it was going to be a purely ISO series. It wasn't the case. It wasn't the case tonight, but their only hope is to get Luka and Kyrie to combine for 60 plus points. So however they can figure out a way to do that is their only chance of winning. And they probably need even more than that. So again, trying to get Porzingis and Horford in some sort of switch, but Porzingis is a lot more mobile than I think any of us thought he was going to be. So I don't know what the answer is for them.
That's the problem, Jimmy. There's not a mismatch that they can look at and say, yup, that's going to get us buckets.
Right.
That's a big problem. I think the one thing you'll see them do a little bit differently during game 2 is I think they're going to adopt what they did in the second half more so, and that is crowd Porzingis as much as you can. Whether he's behind the three-point line, on the block, but make sure you keep someone attached to his body and force him to be more of a facilitator as opposed to a guy that can just catch and shoot. That, I think, is one way that you can try to address the impact that he made. But to me, the bigger concern if you're Dallas is that Jason Tatum driving kick game. I mean, he was getting to the middle of the paint all game long. And Dallas, I think, compensated for that by just trying to take away his ability to finish. And all he did was just kick it out to open guys. So Dallas has to figure out those two things to really give themselves a shot at going back to Dallas with this thing tied up at 1 game apiece. I don't think they can deal with. I don't think they can adequately address both of those things. One of them maybe, but not both, and that's a problem for them.
So that's the problem is the problems. That's the thing, like Dallas's problem is all of the problems that the Celtics present. No, I'm not ready for Nick. I put Nick on.
Speaking of problems,
who did that? You, Jimmy?
I didn't know. My hands have been up here.
Do I sound okay though?
You think
He doesn't even know he's on.
Well, take him
I
on.
do know I'm on. I know I'm on. I didn't do it. I don't even know how to work the restream or whatever it's called.
Great.
But I'm here, and I won't interrupt you anymore. Go ahead. Take me off the air.
If you're here, if you're just not here because you're pretty, Nick. You're here to talk. So yap it up.
Toothpaste is out of the.
What a game! I'm sweating like an animal.
Is that a sweating boomer I see?
It's like I just played 48 minutes.
At least you were black.
I looked like Guillermo out there.
Nick was not on a minutes restriction tonight, as you guys can tell.
And I'll tell you, even though he may have been on a minutes restriction, Kristaps Porzingis, guys. Wow, John, you looked right at me when we saw the first dunk of the game. Okay, maybe he's okay. Let's see how he responds after how many minutes did he play? 20 minutes? 20 points, 20 minutes? Is that right? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Nobody, everyone pretend you can't hear Nick.
Nick, are you on?
Nick, 21 minutes was the final.
21 minutes, 20 points. And Tatum not scoring, having a lot of turnovers, but that penetration and kicking out to the perimeter, unbelievable. And Al Horford's defense. You didn't see a lot of the pick and roll that I thought we would from Dallas, and wow, that's bright. And I know eventually we are going to see that, but overall, what a game. If you look at the box score, too, I mean, Dallas really has nobody but Luka. Kyrie was getting the business the entire game. I think he ended up with like 6 for 20. I mean, just a great overall way to start the finals. And if they can carry this in for game 2, this might be over in 4 or 5 games.
Yeah. We got to drop Nick for 1 second. We're going to work on that microphone. We got to work on the microphone a little bit there.
I feel like the mic's picking up from his ears, from his AirPods, maybe.
Yeah. That might be just a little bit underwater there. Yeah. So that could be the case.
Anyway,
but
Boomer,
Nick.
He'll figure it out in a few hours, I'm sure.
He owns the company. He'll buy some shit.
Yeah. Just spend money to fix it.
Yeah.
The one thing that I could make out everything Nick said, but the one thing that kind of did come across was the fact that the Mavericks don't really have many options when you look beyond Kyrie and Luka. And you look at that Derek Lively, who was one of the key success stories in their run, was horrible. I mean, he had twice as many fouls as points. And defensively, he just was a non-factor. We got a little bromance action going on behind me. Keep it moving, fellas. Keep it moving. There we go.
Is that Gary?
No. Dallas has problems. I mean, to go back to John, their problem is that they've got lots of problems, and there's no clear-cut solution on how they're going to address any of them.
Oh, good. He's back.
Nick, let's hear from you again.
Okay, so basically everything I said there was Porzingis, 21 minutes, so efficient. I guess we could check that box and say he's okay. Hopefully he responds well. The other side, Tatum, a lot of turnovers, but man, he could get into the lane at any second, and he's popping out for three-point shots, passing out to the three-point shooters. And then Al Horford's defense, I don't know if you guys discussed this yet, but the old man was moving. He was moving tonight. All in all, you saw that besides that little lull in the third quarter, the Celtics had that it's the style of play that is indicative of 20-plus point wins that they've had all season. Dallas, if they don't find more scoring besides Luka, they're going to be in big trouble because Kyrie was pretty much booed out of the arena. Was he like 6 for 20 something? And if the Celtics
6 for 19,
6 for 19, what's that? 30%, Jimmy? I suck at math. By the way, guys, do I look good? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. All in all, I gotta say it. The biggest thing for me is I haven't been in TD Garden covering a game. Now I've been here as a fan. Haven't since opening night 2 years ago. But before that, I've covered 10 years worth of basketball here.
Welcome back.
I'd never seen this crowd this pumped up. Like it was truly the NBA Finals. God bless John Zannis, who got all the credentials approved.
Oh yeah, what a great guy! Rub it in some more.
Except Jimmy's.
Give a round of applause for John.
I think the fans can taste it. I think they recognize that this is a moment that you need to cherish because this team is on the cusp of doing what they literally set out to do from day one. And they've checked off all the boxes to get here, and they're facing a team that, if we're being honest and candid, this is of the final 4 teams out west, this was probably the one team that they match up best against in terms of being able to dispatch them quickly. They're a 2-man team, and the rest of the guys around, not only are they, I don't think, as talented as the Celtics complementary pieces, but they don't have the benefit of experience because often that experience can get you over the hump if you're playing with guys with more talent. So they're young, they have potential, but they're just not. I just don't think they're ready. And I think the sad part for Dallas is that if you don't get this chip this year, you're probably not going to get it anytime soon because the teams that are still in the mist out west are probably going to be better than you a year from now. So there's a lot of this is one of those things where I give the Celtics credit for recognizing not to play with your food in game one. They had that little stretch in the third quarter where they didn't look like themselves. But for the most part, at 48 minutes, they probably played a good 43, 44 minutes out there.
But Sherrod, how about, not to change the subject, but the minute that Porzingis showed that he could move, the whole garden exhaled collectively. And then the real cheers and chants started coming. I think everybody exhaled when they saw that Porzingis was kind of I don't know if he was teasing with us or just needed to get out there and play to feel like he could play. But damn, he could play. He was just so disruptive around the rim, which that's what you want.
And I think Dallas had this. I think Dallas was just basically trying to see early on was, okay, let's see what you got. Can you make a shot? And he did over and over again. And the mistake that they made was that they allowed him to get into a flow and a rhythm, and he just didn't cool off until the second half. But like I was saying earlier, though, I think the one adjustment Dallas will make is that they will have a body up on Porzingis pretty much every time he touches the ball. So I don't expect him to necessarily have the kind of early scoring output that we saw in game one. But I do anticipate that that's going to open things up for Tatum and Brown and Drew Holiday and those guys to get to the basket or knock down mid-range shots and be impactful offensively because of the attention that Porzingis is going to be drawn. That's going to keep that big who normally is around the basket and protects the rim away from him.
Let me ask you about this. After what you saw tonight, from Porzingis and just overall the Celtics, you put Porzingis in the starting lineup for game 2? Do you keep him coming off the bench again? Sherrod,
Such a good question.
Coming off the bench. I'm going to keep him coming off the bench. I just think that right now you look at – think about it. When he came in for Al had I think 6 points. So that's pretty much what Al was averaging when he was coming off the bench. And you got that in his first stint. So I want to keep that going. And then Al, I think – from a defensive standpoint, he takes away a lot of the stuff that Kyrie and then Luka want to do when they get the switch. Because if Porzingis is with that starting unit, they're going to immediately try to do some pick and roll switch and go at him. You try to do that with Al. Al's a little bit better on those switches than Porzingis is. And so I like having him come off the bench. And frankly, if it's not broke, what do you? He's still going to wind up playing more minutes than Al at the end of the day. If it's a close game, he's probably going to be on the floor instead of Al. So it really doesn't. I think and it's that old coaching adage where it's not about who starts, it's who finishes. I think this is an example when that makes a lot of sense. And Porzingis, he's not tripping. He's 3 wins away from getting a championship. So whether he's starting, coming off the bench, he just wants that chip.
Yeah, that ring looks the same on the finger. Nick, boss man, thoughts?
Yeah, man. I mean, I think he comes off the bench too. Why disrupt good rhythm? Not only that, but Al, his whole career has been a starter. I think he's been great off the bench this year, but he's played even better when he started.
Nice
and
little full circle moment for Al, huh?
It is, isn't it?
And starting lineup spot and then getting the call in the NBA Finals like that.
And a lot of double big tonight, and that rotation allows them to play together for a couple minutes as well. So I think all that combined, you're going to see. Why would they not? Why would Joe switch anything up that's working right now? If you're going to change it, wait till they lose a game or whatever.
Yeah, we got you.
Me again.
It's like where's Waldo, but it's Zannis in the TD Garden. Where are you now?
Where is John?
Every time you look up, he's just like in a different section.
He's got a different. Is that a green screen, John? Where are you?
Real quick, John, before we switch it, I do want to cut to this Porzingis soundbite because we were just talking about Porzingis.
That's what I'm going to. And also, I also totally disagree. If Porzingis is ready, he starts. Don't be silly.
You can't.
Well, he was ready tonight, John. What are you talking about? I think he was ready tonight.
He was. The reason he came off the.4th of all, they lied to us again. He was on a minutes restriction. He was on a minutes restriction. He was there to play. 4. We said it like hockey shifts. He played 4 or 5 minute shifts, and that was it. So he wanted to, and so that's they wanted to manage it. So they moved him to the bench because they knew he was limited in those minutes because they wanted to set their rotations that way. If the restrictions come off and Porzingis truly goes to 30 minutes a game, you're starting him because then it's silly not to. So the only reason to play him off the bench is if you're planning on keeping his minutes low. If he's ready to go, he's Kristaps Porzingis. He starts. Like it's not. Let's not overthink this.
But John, that point that you made about if he's still on a minutes restriction, that's why I'm saying I still think he's going to come off the bench in game 2 because I still think his minutes are going to be in that 20-25 range. And if that's the case, you're better off having him come off the bench. But if he's 100%, if he's 100% and can go 30, 35, 40 minutes if necessary, then you put him out there with your first group. But I don't think he's there.
Why are people mad at me that I want to start the Celtics second or third best player? Like, what are we?
because the risk of a re-injury is still maybe a possibility with overusage.
What's wrong with you people? Like, just guys, relax.
I love when Zannis gets he literally goes one-on-one with the chat room while we're all here. It's kind of great. I get such a kick out of this.
I think there are more people agreeing with him than he's.
That's fine.
But a lot of people would want Porzingis to start. It's just
I just don't know. Listen, Jimmy, I hate to interrupt you. I'm sorry. I actually love to interrupt you. So yeah, I enjoy it a lot. But I'm just saying, you won how many straight games right now in the playoffs? 8, 9, and you're 13-2 without Porzingis. Why start him when he's obviously responded well off the bench? Let him come in off the bench in game 2. I think until you stumble, you don't screw with what's working.
Exactly. I just think as long as he's only going to play 25 minutes, I'm keeping him coming off the bench. If he's not going to be able to play a full go, then we need to keep him in that 20 to 25 minutes if you're the Boston Celtics. If that's where he's at now.
I'm on Team Sherrod. Callahan. I found Andrew Callahan.
Where's the shot?
Hey, Andrew, welcome to
Fox, bro. What's going on?
Welcome to the Garden Report.
It's this thing we do. I thought the basketball we saw the Celtics play in the second quarter was the best I've seen from them all season. I think this is the team that we've been waiting for against proper competition under this kind of pressure, not knowing how they would react. It's funny, a game where Tatum shoots 6 of 16 and has 6 turnovers, and you're going, this is the best the Celtics have ever looked. Has me excited for the rest of the finals. Doesn't mean they win game 2. But that's what you want to see. We waited a long time, and they're here.
And now I can leave.
Who starts
week 1 for the Patriots?
at quarterback.
Week 1 for the Patriots at quarterback.
Come on, guys. I'm here to get away from the Patriots. You know they're supposed to pick number 1 next year. What am I going to do with myself for 12 months? I'll probably be back here. It'll be Jacoby Brissett. I think he's the right guy to have in there. A veteran. He's a placeholder, but excellent. I'm not gone yet, John. You don't get to boot me out of the show. I'm an honored guest here, John.
And that was talking Patriots.
I love it.
Yeah, I probably just missed every press conference filing my column for the Herald because we're still putting out papers in 2024. Subscribe to the Boston Herald, by the way.
Yeah.
But no, Jacoby Brissett, guy you want in the locker room, leading the offense, knows the offense. Good. Somebody is.
Good.
But yeah, it's good to see you guys. See you for game 2.
I can leave now because Callahan just said everything I wanted to say. Thanks, Callahan.
Anyway,
you wanted to talk about Jacoby Brissett? Okay.
By the way,
I had nothing to say about the Patriots.
For those Patriots fans out there, if you don't subscribe already, Andrew Callahan, a terrific podcast, Pat's Interference on the CLNS Media Network. It's a really good podcast, so check out Andrew. Let's hear from Kristaps and see what he says.
A little bit of everything, right? It's tough to not play for a month and then jump into the highest intensity game in the finals. It's obviously very tough, but as I said, I did everything I could to prepare for this moment, like mentally. And then just going out there and playing like instinctually almost, and trusting my body, and that was it. And as I said, like the support around me was great to get to this moment. And now we just have to keep going and take care of business.
Completely different.
Keep going. Take care of business.
Attitude, confidence in his voice today than what we heard.
Which
Tuesday.
again,
he just dropped 20 points in 21 minutes, Jimmy. I'll be feeling pretty damn confident too if I just dropped 20 in 21.
Jimmy, let me say this. This leads me to believe slightly that his concern was genuine. It wasn't straight up coy. He's way more ready than we expected. I was worried that he wasn't going to be close. Like that when he was worried, he was like, I'm like at 60%, guys. So I do think there was a little bit of trepidation there stepping out there. He wasn't sure what it was going to happen for sure. I actually think somebody put it on my Twitter, which was perfect way to express it. Day one press conference from Kristaps when we talked to him at Arbeck Center was like a witness got interrogated by a lawyer and he just wasn't ready for it. And then the second one was like with lawyers coaching, and like he said more of the same, but like in a more calm way. But like the first one was legit panic inducing for a reason. It was like, oh my God. It's like the 15-second pause to see if he's not in pain. I was like, oh, it's so bad.
You had to like look around. Wick was in the back.
Why did no one tell me that question was coming?
You're healthy.
It was like
feel no pain.
It was like Mark McGuire, like I'm not here to talk about the past. Like he was like, I didn't know it was gonna be like that.
Yeah.
But you can tell, right, Jimmy? You're right. Totally. His tone there is like, that was okay. That was all right. I'm okay. Yeah, I'm all right. That
he needed
felt
to
good.
see it. Yep.
So he did.
I wonder how much of that happened throughout his career. I mean, because it wasn't like he was forced to come back early for a lot of those seasons where he was banged up. But it's like maybe he just needed a little kick in the butt. Get out there, man. You're fine.
But
and
Jimmy,
by the way, we need you.
It's totally different here, Jimmy. I mean, this is literally it's a freaking NBA Finals.
Right.
This isn't like Game 62 or the Game 3 of a 5-game West Coast trip. This is like the NBA Finals. So I could understand his trepidation, particularly when you have missed 10 straight games in the playoffs, and the team has looked pretty damn good in your absence. So, yeah, I get it, but I think the mistake that Dallas made, and again, they'll go back and they'll look at the film, and I think they'll see it as that they basically dared him to make plays offensively at the start of the game, and then after a couple went down, they were just like, "Oh shit, what are we going to do now?"
You know the rule, Sherrod. There's no, the whole no cheering in the press box thing, which has obviously gone a little bit out the window with, kind of, the way media has changed over the last 50. It doesn't matter. What I will say this is it was impossible not to like kind of smile and giggle and like gasp at what Porzingis was doing out there. It seemed surreal, like it wasn't supposed to happen. It was just everything happening all at once. And I don't think anybody thought that type of impact was going to happen that quickly. I mean, and it was just that series of plays, with stepping into 27-foot threes and like challenging at the rim.
It was like,
and
with each play, he was getting stronger.
But it was like it was legit. It was like almost like he took his entire unicorn resume and he's like, I'm going to show you this and this and this and this and this and this and this is what makes me a unicorn. And he did like all in one shot. And it was like not only like one, the fear was health, but like I think what a lot of people forgot being so concerned with health with Kristaps was, holy crap, he's really good at basketball. Remember the first game he played this year and everybody was like, oh, this is different. And it was just that took you back to that early in the season feeling where you're like, oh, everything is different now. And that's what it felt like again. And so I think anybody watching with whatever trepidation you have, having watched the Celtics in years past or in some moments and instances in the early rounds of the playoffs, I think all of that was wiped away with what Porzingis was doing there. And you could see it on everybody's face as they were watching it. And they were like, oh shit. It really was like that. That was the vibe, and you could see it among media. And again, where we're sitting, we're around tons of fans too. So obviously, that was the vibe I got while I was here. Everybody was thinking and feeling the same exact thing at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, remember, when our good friend Isaiah Thomas was doing some pretty amazing things, dealing with, obviously different type of
great vibe.
How you doing, brother? And that was a vibe that you got when you watch Porzingis just absolutely killing it out there. It's as much as you as an opponent would, you don't want your opponent to do well. It's hard not to want to see that guy do well. And Porzingis, again, he reminded us why he was such a sought after guy, and then how for most of the season we've been building him up as kind of that X factor for the Celtics, the guy that is going to cause major problems.
The elevator. Can we hear? Go ahead, follow up, and then we're going to hear from Jaylen.
Follow up just real quick. This has to be probably the greatest night of Porzingis' life, especially certainly professional basketball career. I can't speak to his personal life, but this is a guy that was drafted with obviously a lot of high expectations. Got dragged through the mud in New York. Got dragged through the mud in Dallas. Now he's playing against his Dallas team. Went to Washington, kind of a forgotten player at that point. Had a great season, but on a franchise that was going nowhere fast. This guy has had to just keep his head down and trust in the player that he is. Trust that someday he's going to get to where he wants to get to. And this was kind of like his, vindication game. I mean, and credit to him, he went for it. He just went balls to the walls, and he didn't hold back. He didn't play with any sort of, trepidation or any question that he couldn't be this player. And this is going to be, but certainly he's going to think about for the rest of his life. But Celtics fans are going to be like, hell yeah, Porzingis is my dog. Absolutely. He's if this continues to go in the right direction for Boston, Porzingis is going to have a home here for the rest of his life. Put it that way. Yeah. He won't be able to go far without being noticed, but he won't pay a penny for anything.
So as we talk about being fans of Porzingis, no bigger fan of Porzingis on this team and maybe in life than Jaylen Brown, his roommate, his bosom buddy. I guess also kind of lost in, like, if you're a Celtics fan, what you've missed is that little chemistry and the vibe that those guys have going and on the court. And right now, Porzingis probably came out, of the gate looking like, oh, whoa, this might be the finals MVP type of performance here. But by the end of the game, it was Brown who, overtook that and is a clubhouse leader. But again, that's largely due to the fact that Porzingis only played 21 points. Nevertheless, Brown up there just talking about how proud he is of his boy KP after the game.
Jaylen, your friendship with Kristaps Porzingis has been well chronicled this year. Just as a friend and as a teammate and as someone who's been around him, what did it feel like to see him have the kind of game that he had right off the bat and have that energy?
It was amazing. Nobody's more proud or more excited for him than I am, but we got to get better. I mean, we got to almost forget about it and get ready for the next one. We can't be celebrating ourselves. Dallas is, probably getting ready for the next game right now, so we gotta prepare and get ready for the next one too.
On to the next one. On to the next one. That's how you got to be. That's how you got to be.
So Brown was an assassin tonight, all the way through.
I mean, that dunk he had in the first half. My goodness.
That was
again,
nice.
like I said, it was a team effort in the first half where they played near perfect basketball, executed their game plan to precision. When things started dragging, Jaylen Brown saved their asses there in the third quarter. So Jaylen gets the brownie again, and Jaylen is the clubhouse leader right now for MVP.
Get the brownie.
Absolutely.
Jaylen can't get the brownie. That's right. Jaylen was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. The dunk was ridiculous, but it was the defense. And again, this is the best thing about Brown.
It was the fit. I think it was the
when he's engaged.
Everyone's jacket.
Oh my God, he looked so mean pregame. Yeah. But that's the best thing about Brown is you talk about that snarl. Like Porzingis is out there winking and smiling, and you're like, oh, look how happy it is. Jaylen Brown's out there just wants to catch bodies. He's angry.
I love it.
So, yeah.
Love
angry
it.
Dude.
Love it.
Bobby Manning.
We might get a smile out of him in a couple of weeks, though. Where is Bobby?
What does this mean?
Did you talk trash about Hauser? Hauser had a solid game.
No, in fact, I said Hauser. The speed of the Indiana Pacers was too much for Hauser, but I thought he'd be able to play in this series. Was I believe what I'd said, but that's okay.
That's okay. We don't talk about that.
That's okay.
Bobby actually said he thought Hauser might not play.
Hauser acquitted himself well this game. And you know what's interesting is it's the odd man out here, I believe, was Pritchard because they were a little worried about mismatches there on him, and also him not being able to get a shot off as easily on the drive and kicks as some of the other guys. Hauser had one of the most ridiculous catch and shoot threes I can remember. He caught the ball directly over his head with his arms almost fully extended and then shot it without bringing it back down. I've never seen that. It was the insane thing.
It's like when your kids are little and they're just, you just throw them the ball and they just catch it, and without even thinking, they just throw it back up.
It was like volleyball, but
there was no form at all.
His hands were almost fully outstretched over the top of his head, and he splashed it. I was like, what was that? I couldn't believe that.
Whatever it is, though, it's working for him because he was killing it tonight, and he played good defense. He
was great. He was great on D.
First two possessions against Luka, he forced the turnover and forced the miss, and Luka didn't miss that many shots early on. So good for him. Good for him. He needed a game.
He had it, and I was just gonna say he's had an absolutely abysmal playoffs here. He had 17 against Miami. And I think it was game 5. But since then, if he just packed his bags and retired, I don't think anyone would have faulted him, but not the type of guy he is. And you know what I mean? And you got to give him credit, just like you got to give Porzingis credit for the rehabbing and coming back. Got to give these guys credit for just believing in themselves, staying true. And Hauser, a guy that could not hit the broadside of a barn, just doing whatever he can to get in the court. And we haven't mentioned his name yet, Sean.
Yeah,
Coach Cho going to Hauser, believing that he could still, contribute and sticking with him out there.
I was surprised how quick they went to all their rotate. I didn't expect they were going to get into the bench as early and often as they did, and all of a sudden, Pritchard and Hauser out there, and you're like, oh, so they're doing this,
Yep.
I
think Bobby said he didn't even know if Hauser was going to play this series.
Oh, that.
So.
I don't know about that.
No, look, you got 16 from Pritchard, 16 from Hauser. Hauser finishes plus 17 with 8 points. It was really, 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 really solid performance for him. That is, a plus. I don't think you necessarily thought you counted on here, and I liked it. Bobby and I were talking about that too, up on 9, just kind of like why, and it just makes sense. Because of his ability to get that shot off quickly. And you knew this was going to be one of those series where there's just going to be a ton of drive and kick with Dallas having those bigs there clogging things up that, we predicted that the Celtics would take 53s. They ended up with only 42. It's actually below their season average, but you knew it was going to be one of those games, and that's what you have a guy like Hauser out there. If he can hang on defense, he can. And that's the thing is, like, outside of Luka, who's going to hunt to switch on somebody every single time, and Kyrie being Kyrie, like, you're not super worried that anyone's going to cook Hauser, so that's why he can probably survive here.
And they've got, and if that situation arises, they've got to be ready to rotate, collapse.
I'm on Shaq's single cam on TNT. I'm being told I'm right on the line here.
That's awesome. You want to get Shaq on? I'll give you a hard hat if you can get Shaq on.
We have no hard, Jimmy. We have no hard hats.
We will have hard hats, and I will save one for you.
Yeah.
Also, I want to make an announcement. I'm going to be getting a hard hat too, so maybe I'll give mine away at the end of the playoff run. We'll see how that goes. Did John freeze?
I did. Am I back?
You are.
I'm not back.
Oh, you're back.
Sorry, I thought it blinked out for a second. For me. So, like we said,
how big is Shaq?
He looks great. I think all of these guys are on, all of, Ozempic and all of that shit now. So they all look terrific.
I meant height wise.
I actually have no idea if that's the case, but like everybody's skinny now.
Yeah, I'm not on Ozempic. I want to put that out there.
No, you're just on Jimmy.
I'm on Reds. Yeah, I'm on Reds.
Yeah.
Speaking of Ozempic,
Nick Gelso is Gelso's thumbs upping me back.
Yo, guys, you got me for a couple more minutes, Bobby. And
we asked for you to be back. To be completely honest.
Well, the fans did, Jimmy, and they've been asking all fucking year. How about
that? Whoa, Nick.
Hey, boss man can say what the boss man want to say, Jimmy.
No one's gonna fire him.
No, man, I got Bobby right here and Josue. They're gonna let me get my last take in. I see John. He's right there.
There's Bobby.
Johnny, look.
You see Shaq too?
A fake Bobby just walked by. He looks just like Bobby. I swear to God. I swear to God. There we go.
You guys look like you're having a lot of fun.
We are. We have a total of 4 laptops, all not charged. They're all not charged at this moment. So we're doing our best. I'm not going to hijack anymore. I'm just going to say thanks for having me, guys. I'll be back after game 2, and we'll be more organized. And I may have on a hard hat because I heard there are hard hats in inventory right now.
So Nick, all the hard hats sold out in 5 minutes tonight.
Are you kidding me?
We do have another order placed. I'm not going to make any promises, but there will be more hard hats available. If you didn't get one, you got to watch the show to know when they go for sale.
Nick just thanked us for having him on his network.
There was a time where this show was me and Jimmy's show, and man, I'm glad it's not anymore. It's so much in better hands right now with you guys. So
this is like when they own a team and then signs himself to play in the games.
No, I signed
Jerry Jones over here.
1-day contract so I can retire a Garden Report guy.
Why are you leaving, Nick?
There you go.
I'm leaving because we don't have enough room for me. And that's okay.
You don't?
Because we have computer issues. But on the next game, I will be ready. And this is my parting shot, my last take.
Okay.
I'm going to say right now, Celtics in 5. That's my prediction. Celtics in 5.
Party a little late on that one, but you don't get to make those picks. Yeah.
All right.
He makes his pick after the series starts. Okay.
And the other thing, I want to formally apologize to Joe Mazzulla, who's been outstanding in these playoffs. Apology.
Okay, he doesn't know who you are.
Jimmy's such
you don't need to.
He has, and you know what? He has no idea who I am. But you know who does? Kyrie Irving, because I checked today, the fucker still has me blocked from 4 years ago. 4 years ago. And I'm not doing any apologies for Kyrie. That's it. Oh, boomerang! Anyway, get over here. They all want me to
Inception right now.
I'm going to get canceled here. Josue, get in here.
Yeah,
guys,
please.
I'll see you after game 2.
All right, see you, Nick.
He's booming.
That was a lot. That was a lot.
That was a lot.
The NBA Finals on the Guard report too. Everyone.
I believe.
Everyone's coming.
I believe that was an appropriate amount of Gelso. I believe that was just the right amount of Gelso.
Just the right amount. Yeah. We don't need. We don't need any more surprise.
So you know what? I'm gonna skip the Tatum convo. You know why? I just don't want to do it.
I don't want to do it either.
We recognize that he did the drive and kick stuff. I still think some people are going to freak out a tad because they're looking for more offense. My only thing I will say on it is I do want to see him be able to get to his shot a little bit better than it is. Sherrod was saying he was getting by people. I actually thought he was having a tough time sometimes getting past guys that he should be able to get past. So I just want to see him decide and move a little quicker. But you're right. His drive and kick was outstanding. And even when you're looking at it, you're like, he's not scoring, but every minute he's on the court, good things were happening. So I don't want to get into a you don't know ball argument about complaining about Tatum and what he was doing. Yeah, we'll because you don't need to. They won, and
if they lose a game,
he was usually part of good things rather than bad stuff. So he was good. We're waiting for Bobby.
Yeah, why don't you play this clip?
We got another play. Uh-oh, Kyrie. Here it is on the environment. Somebody told me
on the environment. He's going to talk
if I listen
global warming and stuff. What?
I'm sure the word journey is going to come up at least once.
Don't stop believing.
The environment. How did that either meet or kind of exceed your expectations, and how did it affect you tonight?
No, I mean it's basketball at the end of the day. Being in this environment, I'm used to it at this point. Early in my career, there was a different relationship that I had with Boston, just being able to come here, be settled with a veteran group. Now I'm here as the veteran. Over the past few years, just experiencing the playoffs here, even regular season, it's been the same thing. I thought it was going to be a little louder in here, but I'm expecting the same things going into game 2. Crowd trying to get me out of my element. My teammates out of my element, but again, the energy's got to be focused towards the game. Felt like I had a lot of great looks. They hit back rim, or they were just a little left or right. So I just got to stay confident and stay poised throughout this, man. This is the best time of the year to be playing. There's only 2 teams left. Let's put it in perspective. The environment's going to be what it is, but my focus is on our game plan and making sure my guys feel confident and I feel confident and continue to shoot great.
Wow,
thought they'd be a little louder. Thought the fans would be a little louder. Okay.
Where are the suits? John, you're muted. You're muted. Can't hear it.
I like that dig. I do. I like that. That's a good little shot there. I'm giving that to him. It's just slips it right in, and that's fine. Here's the thing with Kyrie. No, go ahead, Sherrod.
I was going to say, would any of us be surprised if that just happens to find its way onto the Jumbotron right before tip-off?
Right.
Yeah.
I personally would do that. Just to troll.
The old days that do it. Now everybody's soft. They don't want to riot. They want to get everyone riled up, but they should do it.
Oh, they should do that.
But what I will say about Kyrie's game, and sure, you can always say, I rimmed out a couple shots. I wish I did this. I wish I did that. And that's all fine and good. But the key is he's one of the best difficult shot makers. He's one of the best shot creators and difficult shot makers in the NBA. So the key is you just want to make his shots as difficult as possible. And then if he beats you, you tip your hat. If he doesn't,
I thought they did that tonight.
And they did. These were difficult shots. He's flying across the lane. He's shooting fadeaways. It wasn't. They're making him go left and he's a natural left-hander actually, but he can do it all. But you're trying to make it harder on him. You just don't want it to be. And he wasn't able to get everything he wanted, even when he was getting on switches. Everything was challenging tonight. This wasn't one of those where he missed six open threes. It wasn't that. They think they made it hard on him. So
congrats to Kyrie. 3 more wins and he gets a ring, right? He takes half the credit for what Tatum and Brown do. Every other quote he wants to talk about, the veteran and the relationship and all this stuff. He doesn't look that bothered up there on stage, which on one hand is good to be able to stay level-headed, but on the other hand, all this stuff where it's just basketball, we're just it's great to be playing all this stuff. you guys just got worked. You got smoked, and you played like trash. Like, how about a little bit of accountability? How about a little bit of, we got to be
not
better.
on brand. That's not on brand for him, Jimmy. You know that.
I know, but
well,
just saying.
I don't know what else he said there. So it's possible. Luka looked he was pretty he looked like a sad girl at the podium.
Did he?
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I'm kind of curious from the Dallas perspective, like what their like move is. I don't know that they did much in game to change things up. I'm curious what they do next game to change it, because it's one of the great things about the Celtics versus not being the Celtics. If it being Dallas, is the Celtics can do a lot of different things and beat you a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
And hi, Abby.
Oh, hi, Sherrod. Miss you.
Hi, Abby.
Abby, you're not going to say more to Sherrod than that.
I can't hear him.
You can't hear him?
I have headphones on.
You're exactly right. But you can still say hi.
Hello, Sherrod.
Hello, Abby.
I enjoyed your post-game notes.
He said good to see you.
Nice to see you, too. Keep killing it.
Keep killing it. We're all former colleagues.
Exactly. Big team, you kumbaya.
Yeah, we used to hang out. A lot of NBC peeps. Yep.
No, but Dallas, I mean, I just don't know what more Luka could do other than maybe get his teammates more involved, but he tried. They just couldn't make shots. And they passed up, and they to their credit, they didn't force the action. But man, Amish beer, that's funny. I love that.
They got us. Got us.
That was good. That was good.
I'm looking at something really nice over here, guys. In the corner of our boxes here, John.
What do you want? Should we bring these guys out?
Yeah, 2 studs. There they are.
Oh
I thought you were talking about something behind us, Jimmy.
Harry and Lloyd.
Don't do that. Stop it.
I love
look at you.
The lower.
Look what Sherrod started
says,
now.
The lower third says Bobby and Josue, but it's Josue and Bobby. But that's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. You guys can. Everyone watching the show knows who you are.
Switch. How we doing, fellas? The finals. You guys pumped up?
Who are you wearing? What'd you guys bring for the finals?
We're exhausted. We've been doing a show for an hour and 20 minutes, so you guys can talk for 3 minutes, and then I'm wrapping it.
That went by fast. You know what, guys? What I love the most about this win, the NBA final. What do you mean? What am I wearing?
It's an Oscars thing.
Let's go, Let's go.
Yeah. This is what we wanted. There we go. Here's the close up. All right. So, one of the biggest takeaways from this game, or I should say after the game, is the fact that I feel like
Bobby
none of the Celtics players.
Is he real? He hasn't moved yet.
What am I supposed to talk about?
Yeah, exactly.
How about a hello?
Why do you got to interrupt Josue just to diss Bobby? Man,
but he was
final.
just like 2 minutes. Like angled this way.
We can't have our 3 minutes. Bobby, I guess we can't have our 3 minutes.
He just saw a ghost. Is Josue naked behind
He's
the camera
listening.
or something?
All right, what I was gonna say is I don't think anyone in that Celtics team is like particularly satisfied with this win. Obviously, a win's a win, as they say, but everyone is like, we need to play better, and that can't happen where that lead, the 20-point lead, turns into an 8-point lead in the third quarter. Like the whole Joe Mazzulla philosophy he's been saying all year, finishing the quarter strong. They did that in a big way in the third quarter, and I thought it was Jaylen Brown again. It's been Jaylen Brown a lot throughout this postseason, but to do it on this stage, man, like that was huge. Obviously, what Kristaps did to start was incredible. Like that's probably the biggest takeaway from this game. I'm sure you guys spent like 35 minutes on that. But the way this team was able to just finally stop the bleeding, because that's, like Jaylen said, right? That's what this team's going to do. They're going to go on their run. They're going to, you're going to have to punch back in a big way. And obviously, to get that lead down to 8 was huge for them. But the way they responded, and Derek White agreed with the same thing that Jaylen said, that's exactly what you're supposed to do. And that's what Celtics basketball has been about. Mazzulla ball, if you will, right? Being able to sustain those huge runs, but, punching back, going into the fourth quarter, back with a 20-point lead, and then never looking back. And that's exactly what we saw in this game.
He's finals MVP so far, if we're counting it off, front runner off one game.
No, playoff MVP.
Brown takes pole position again here in this game, and It's that third quarter, like Josue said. They're in huge trouble at that point. They're going stagnant offensively. He's the one who navigates the interior, makes us kick out passes. The defensive plays, Missoula getting big credit for those.
Yeah.
Getting back to some of their individual efforts on that end because they started to wane. Joe said you can lose your defense when your offense starts to stagnate, and that didn't happen tonight because of that stretch by Brown there. Certainly Porzingis had a first half where finals MVP. And listen, I'm not going to knock Tatum too much on this one. There were certainly sloppy stretches. This was the exact game you look at and say he's driving into 3-4 people and just has to kick it out again and again and again. And are the Mavs going to continue to play him that way? That's the biggest question going forward in the series. Because if they do, this is a sweep. Like they're not going to be able to compete.
You know what,
like
Bobby? Though it wouldn't surprise me if they do the same thing in Game 2 because I'm looking at
this. The only way they can do it.
Well, if you look at the quotes from Luka, from PJ Washington, I mean, guys that are talking about buckling down defensively because in their minds, they're probably thinking the Celtics, the chance of them shooting the way they shot in Game 1 is less than likely if it was another team, right? So I think with that in mind, they may do the same approach with Tatum and just roll the dice in that the threes won't fall to the same rate or anywhere near that if they're able to buckle down defensively, and it'll be a much closer game throughout.
But they can't buckle down defensively. I mean, I don't think they're going to be much better defensively because the Celtics, right? They don't have the bodies, and the Celtics have the personnel that makes it difficult to lock in on one or two guys. The minute you lock in on those one or two guys, you got three other guys who are going to bust you.
It was kind of a shocking approach, Sherrod.
Yeah.
I agree.
What was shocking to you, Bobby?
That
the way the league went down like that?
That they sold out on Tatum to that degree because I think that's exactly what the Celtics wanted them to do.
I would have done the other thing. I would have let Tatum get the switch that he wanted and just try to ISO and do it all himself because that takes everybody else out of the game. That's what I thought was going to happen. And we in fact talked about it as kind of like the thing I'm most worried might happen is that they'll bait him into doing that, into going ISO, into just holding the ball and like doing his own thing. I thought that I was most concerned with that. I am surprised that they took that. Tatum's not beating us. We'll make everyone else. I didn't get that at all. And maybe part of that was due to, let's have Horford shoot the threes and it's not going to go down, or Porzingis hasn't played in a while and let's see if he's got any juice, and but it was,
they ignored Porzingis early on.
100%. How many times was
so they did? It was a bad tactic.
Yeah,
it was a bad tactic.
Well, I was gonna say, well, that's what happens when it's a bad tactic and you're overlooking what Porzingis is gonna bring to the table. How many times Lively get caught on the switch and they lived with it? It was like they were okay with that. And Porzingis almost looking around like, is this it? Okay, I'm gonna shoot right over him, and it's nothing but net. Like those two plays in particular in the first quarter, and then the up fake and the dunk, and he really just found his rhythm early, and I think a lot of that had to do with those switches, those favorable matchups that he was able to take advantage of.
And it was shocking how effective he was. I mean, me and John just kept looking at each other like, wow.
It's insane.
I'm sure
it was in like 38 days, like whatever, like an NBA game. He hasn't played in.
It was like
40 days.
It was like made up. It seemed silly. We were giggling. We were like, it was stupid.
Unreal, man.
Yeah.
Unreal.
And so what do you think? Was he just 100% in Indy and they held him back and he's more fresh a week or two later? It might have been the playing coy that you thought it was.
I mean, not necessarily. I wouldn't call it 100%, but more so better than we thought and running on fumes, adrenaline. Like he even used that word himself. He said just coming out of this tunnel, hearing the crowd and just that initial.
Do you think they played up his health?
Getting onto the court, like that was huge for him. I mean, they may have a little bit. That's true. I mean, Joe Mazzulla's definitely that guy. He's not going to show all his cards. He's not going to be like, last Friday, hey, Porzingis is 100%, man. We've just been sort of, being cautious with things. No, what was his go-to line for those first 2-3 weeks after Porzingis was out? I have no idea, right? Like, that was the exact line. So maybe a little bit.
Normally you say that, who cares? That stuff doesn't work. That's silly. But it might have worked tonight.
Yeah.
Like, the way they ignored Porzingis was crazy at times. Having him in single coverage in those mid-range areas to just pick those guys apart. That seemed to be emblematic to me of a team that thought he was going to be more limited than he was.
Oh, definitely.
And if the Celtics played that up and did a whole game here with this, credit to them. Because at least for game one, it seemed to work.
Bob, I do want to point out we did, in fact, open with an apology cam, and we did it gleefully. So, again, if you missed the top of the show, you can always watch it back. For those of you
We
who,
did it. I had to text
who,
John and say we had to.
you can also catch the audio version. We have it uploaded in the morning if you want to catch it on your morning drive here. And again, cast of characters. We had us 5. We had Nick Gelso. We had Andrew Callahan, a brief appearance from Abby Chin. Star-studded affair. This was an ensemble cast tonight.
Yeah, you never knew who you're gonna get the Garden.
We got Alex Barth down the road here.
Barth,
Noah.
Vader.
Yeah, they're all here.
We could get a Jack Harlow sighting. You never know a TD Garden. That's a good point, Jim.
Okay, Josue.
You never know.
You're the king of getting people on the show. So if you see anybody, just grab them, man.
I got you.
NBA Finals.
Here or in Dallas. Either one.
Sunday's going to be a celebrity pack.
Taco.
It's always
Taco is in the building.
Taco Fall was on the celebrity list. Well, because it's the athletes. Wow. We've got the saddest celebrities. It's
a Boston lineup.
I was waiting for you guys to realize. When Jimmy's like, you got to get one of these guys. I'm like, all right, I guess.
We do.
It's usually a random group of celebrities.
If you're not getting an
yeah. Josue and Bobby might be the 2 biggest celebs on the court.
But I mean, is that the best we can do? Like a couple of Wahlbergs and a +1. Like you can't get an Affleck or a Damon or a Chris Evans or a Krasinski. Get us. I'll take BJ Novak.
Levin's a big fan. He was probably.
I don't know if Ben Affleck wants to be making a lot of public appearances right now. Yeah, true.
Give me Krasinski. Get him out here.
Well, when it comes to Boston, John, I hate to say it, but you gotta have to hope that someone of relevance has a concert going on soon. They happen to be in town for a reason, because it's rare that celebrities will pull up just for a game unless there's someone playing that they're related to or something like that.
John, I don't know if you've noticed, but a lot of chatter in the chat about getting me to one of these games. Just something to think about. We should ask Bobby and Josue, since we all gave our opinions. Game 2, starting lineup is announced. Should Kristaps Porzingis be in it?
Well, is that going to be the next layer of deception here? Oh, he might come in the starting lineup. He might be on the bench again, because everybody was pretty tight-lipped about those conversations, the process. I didn't ask anybody if that's going to continue to be the case. We can certainly ask that at practice, whenever it is. But that's probably the next thing that they're going to try to toss around here. How much are we going to see him? Is he on the bench? Is he starting? Because there was no minutes limit tonight, but you certainly saw them be careful with
there kind of was.
Yeah.
What was a great little bit of subterfuge there with Joe being coy about, I don't know if he's going to start, and everyone's like, ha, he's starting. Then on the Jumbotron all game long, they had the Celtics starting lineup listed, and Porzingis was on it, and it was like, even the Jumbotron knows. And then boom, it ends up being Al. Anyway, we got briefly into this here, and by the way, we were a little split on whether Porzingis should start, but if he's only going to be able to play 20-21 minutes in a game here, and maybe he would have played 24-25 in a tighter game, I still think bench makes sense.
Yeah, but
he definitely.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say the other thing. Yeah, no, I
he was definitely tired. One thing we talked about was Jason Tatum. How good? Let's rather than argue with each other about he sucks or you don't know ball. He did a lot of good things. Let's say it was a good, not great game. He can do a little bit more, but he did what was needed, and he made a lot of good plays and a lot of good reads. He wasn't perfect, but Al and Drew Holiday are going to tell us why we don't know ball and why Tatum was in fact extremely impactful, and he was.
I think JT was unbelievable. I feel like when you look at our team, the things that we're able to do out there, they all initiate with him. He gets so much attention. They're trying to double him. They're trying to give him different looks, and he has to continue to make the right reads. And tonight he continued to make the right reads every time, taking what the defense gave him. And then on the defensive end, he did well too. He rebounded very well for us. The stuff that he did doesn't measure, in stats or numbers or anything like that. But his impact on the game was felt tremendously, in my opinion. No, he's been doing it all year. He's been doing it all through the playoffs. But he was the one in there telling us, we're okay, we're good. keep your poise. And he went out there and led us, got into the paint, and made plays. If it was him at the rim or getting lively in foul trouble, if it was him getting to the paint, kicking out for multiple threes or plays, I think he did a great job of leading. Him and JT. JT were, again, almost had a triple-double, playmaking. I know sometimes people see him as a scorer, but he's an actual playmaker, doing a lot of everything.
So there you have it. There you have it.
JT love.
I love that last line too, because we've talked about that. Like, who is he? Who does he need to be? The challenge of that. You know, our last show we did, John. There, like, who is he? If it changes every night, that's a challenging thing, and it changed drastically again here tonight from where the Pacers series, he's getting easy matchups, easy lanes to the basket. And tonight, even when he gets by two people, Lively standing right there at the rim, it was crazy how much pressure he saw tonight.
Yeah, no question. But I think what's most important is that he stays in tune with what's going on. You know, he doesn't get frustrated. He's not mouthing off to the officials, or he's not, you know, trying to take over, so to speak. But yeah, I mean, those 6 turnovers is what really stood out to me. Just seemed like he was just kind of loose with it. For sure. And that's a testament to their coverage. Too slow. Yeah, that's that too. It wasn't that
he lost it on a few drives too, you know, I mean, as well, where he was just, And he, again,
it wasn't
I think
like games 3 or 4 where he was just much more, like you said, just take advantage of the matchup, just taking it to the Pacers. So you didn't see that tonight.
Yeah, it's never great when you get the switch and then you kind of set that guy up, because the defense is really, especially when they were playing the way they're playing tonight, they're really setting up what they're going to do. They're waiting for you here, and especially as the clock dwindles. And if they know that they're going to leave Lively in the paint, there were a couple of times I'm surprised he didn't turn over even more, because he would drive with really no hope of getting the shot up, and the only option was a kick out, you know, to the wing there. You could almost stand in that passing lane. So he definitely has to, if he's going to go to the hole, you want to see him do it a little bit more quickly. But he made great passes, and they missed threes early. He had a great one to Holiday underneath the basket, where Holiday wasn't quite ready for it. His angle was off, and he hit the side of the backboard. But that was a really pretty pass. So he did good, and he found people at difficult angles too. So I think Tatum, it's not just gets a pass. I think, again, the biggest fear we had going in was that he would feel like he had to out Luka and like make this a, you know, I'm going to cook and step back and, you know, get my 24 shots off sort of game. And he didn't do that at all. He took what the game gave him, which was exactly what was needed on this night. Guys,
I think we said this
go ahead, Jimmy. Yep.
I think we said this in our preview show, is that Tatum doesn't have to duel Luka. I think we all kind of said he has the supporting cast where, go ahead, Luka, you can win the matchup. Go for it. Congratulations. You outscored Tatum, and you probably will maybe every game in the series. But that's not the type of player Tatum is. Whether you want him to be, he's not going to be that guy who's going to force a takeover. And so when Jaylen Brown got hot, fine, feed Jaylen Brown. When Kristaps Porzingis came in, gangbusters, fine, let him do his thing. Derek White hit a couple big threes to start the game. Like, it's not this team has not been winning games that way, and they're not going to start now. And like, if you're Tatum, I'm sure there's a piece of you that wants to just show everybody that I can drop 30 if I take as many shots or if I just focus on that. But these guys know what ultimately is going to be said about them, and it's going to be whether or not they can win a championship. And so maybe at some point in their careers, Tatum and Brown will the focus will shift and they'll look for their own stats more. But right now it seems pretty obvious that they're just going to do whatever it's going to take to win a title. And tonight was a perfect example of that.
No question. Yeah, no question, Jimmy. I mean, Boston, they're at their best they're at its best when everyone's involved like that. You know, 7 players scored at least 2 3-pointers in this game. That's the first time that's happened in NBA Finals history. I mean, like, when you have a surrounding cast like that, which is one that, let's face it, I mean, maybe if we're like 5-6 years removed from this finals, we may look back and say, man, that was the deepest Celtics team we've seen in the last decade or so. And I think guys like Tatum and Brown, they understand that, because it's not just the depth, but it's the experience. It's guys that have been here before. You know, one guy who's actually won it all. But overall, I think it's the experience and the fact that the core has been intact, you know, relatively intact for like the past 3-4 years. Helps as well. So yeah, I think Tatum is it's a much smarter player now and much more mature and knows that that's when the team is at their best, especially when the 3-point shot is falling. So I don't think he was necessarily worried about his individual performance, but cleaning it up, the way they bounced back out of that timeout midway through the third quarter, he hit some big shots down the stretch that really put the Mavs away for good. And about 4 minutes left to go, 3 minutes left. Luka was on the bench.
Yeah.
So,
And this is why it shocked me so many people were picking the Mavs in this series. You look at the depth of Boston's roster and the number of guys that can hurt you. You're just not scared of the Joneses and Washingtons and those types. So
No, you're not. And it's why Jimmy and I talked about it at the top of the show. It's why I just never got it. I'm not saying, Dallas is incapable of winning the series or winning multiple games in the series. I just didn't get it. Like, I didn't get everyone's rush to declare it. It's, I think the reasonable take would be like, it's a good team. They're pretty good. They could give them problems. That would have been reasonable. To just flat out declare, like, this is the better. I didn't get that. I don't get how you
play themselves a little bit.
Yeah, they did. You did. It's a little weird recency bias. Like I said, the boredom. The Celtics have been this good all year long. You see them futz around and said, mess around. With those, the Eastern Conference looks weak. Are you guys whispering to each other, or?
I'm waiting for you to take a damn breath because we're getting bounced out of here. But I might as well just say it now. We're getting bounced out of here, so we have to
let it. It's
check out.
We can do
We're
this.
live.
We can do this organically.
Who's telling you?
No, I know. I'll just
wait.
TD Garden employees.
Get him on screen. Get him on screen.
Well, not that we have to leave altogether, but we got to move from this exact spot.
We can do it.
Telling us.
We can do it.
Oh yeah.
I hear you.
All right, ready, guys? Right. We're gonna say goodbye together then.
Wait, we're gonna end the show?
Well, I didn't know John had to go. I was just trying to.
We're back. Did I blink out?
Nope,
we're gonna end the show.
3,800 people in here.
We're gonna end the show, guys. We're 90 minutes in. We're 90 minutes in. People are starting to like drill things. I think we can. I think we can wrap it up. We'll be back. We'll be back with more preview stuff in a little bit. But I think we've said all we can say. We do appreciate you guys coming in here. Are they going to leave or no? Actually, leave. Amit's hard at work. I think Amit's being arrested. Yeah.
Okay. Bill money, here we come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay. As long as he brings us up in jail.
I know.
As long as he gets everything posted, we're good.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
If Wi-Fi in jail is good, we're okay. We'll be okay. As long as the Wi-Fi is good.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for watching. We do appreciate it. We thank you for cleaning out our hard hats. We thank you for those who support our sponsors. Right. We thank you for those who are liking and sharing the show with other people. Great audience tonight, and a lot of good reasons why. We had a terrific game one as the Celtics take down the Mavericks 107-89 lead.
Did we lose John? Did we lose John? We may have. Sherrod, you're muted.
I could tell I froze, so I stopped talking.
You're back.
Yeah. So we're gonna wrap it from the Garden. Sherrod is here, Bobby and Josue. They've got more coming up, so you want to definitely stay tuned. Press conference is going up on the channels right now. Use that code 3MORE, 20% off. Shop at clnsmedia.com. Shop at the merch store. We're gonna call it a night. We love you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
3 wins.
3 more.
3 games to go, guys. Banner 18. We're
Sunday
getting close.
Night. We got stuff this weekend too, though, right?
We'll see you guys. Like I said, we'll have more preview shows over the week. We got a practice coming up on Saturday, but we will definitely see the majority of you back here on Sunday night, where the Celtics hope to take a 2-0 lead. Take care, everybody.
Wait, Amit's got an outro for us, I think.
No, he doesn't.
He said he was going to work on an outro.
He had a phenomenal game. Phenomenal.
Forfeit's out. I think it's an option.
That did not sound like a chair.
It was a freaking chair. It does sound like a chair.